to send out the organizational meeting agenda and coordinate with Mike to schedule the online meeting. But the meeting technically gets started by the longest standing member. They'll call the meeting to order, call the vote for, run the process to elect a chairperson, and then at that point, the chairperson would then take over. So Carolyn, are you the longest standing member on the committee, I think?
I do believe I have that distinction. So I've been on the committee for about 14 years, I think. So I don't see anyone who I think has been on the committee longer than I have been. So with that, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:38. And with that, I would like to take nominations for Chair of Planning, Zoning, and Housing.
Now, Carolyn, do you want to use the polling where I would put the names up and we would have anonymous polling, or do you want to do just show of hands? It's up to you.
Oh,
if I'm able to do the polling if there's more than one nomination, and the vote is anonymous but recorded.
Okay, so if we have more than one nomination, would we like to do it anonymously? Yes.
Yeah, we do a poll. We do the polling.
Okay.
But it's up to you.
Okay, so are there any nominations for a chair?
I nominate Amy Barsanti.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have Amy Barsanti nominated as chair. Are there any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, do we want to just, since there's only one, do we want to vote with a show of hands? Or do you want to do the poll?
Show of hands is fine.
Show of hands is fine.
Okay, so Amy, who would like to see Amy remain chairman? Raise your hand.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, any no's? Any abstentions? Okay, Amy, I hand the meeting over to you. Congratulations.
Amy, I just need to interrupt you for 1 minute because we have Susan joining. And Susan, could you identify yourself?
Yeah, I already did. Susan Larson. I was on the phone before, but now I did the Zoom.
Okay, so I've got you on. So you're on here twice. Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, terrific. Why don't we just do a quick introduction of all the members real quick before we do the additional elections for vice chair and clerk. So obviously I'm Amy Barsanti. I've been the chairperson before. Last year, prior to that was vice chair. Prior to that, I was on Parks and Recs. I am a realtor in town, and I think it's important for all of us to follow the issues of planning and zoning, particularly zoning this year that will be facing our town. We're gonna have a lot of interesting things happening in the works at the state level that I think our community really needs to be aware of and stay on top of. And that's the reason why I want to serve on this committee and help keep everybody informed. So I can see who's next in line for me. And Mike, do you want to call on people to just do their quick introduction of themselves?
Sure. And Scott Zimmerman has joined us.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I was just finishing up our District 3 meeting.
Yeah. So since I can see the view, I'll go and check everybody after I've called on them. My name is Mike Wheeler. This is my third year on PZNH. Before that, I was on Public Works, and I'm also on the Rules Committee. Carolyn?
I'm Carolyn Bain. This is the only committee, the Planning, Zoning, and Housing Committee is the only RTM committee that I've served on, and I have served on it since, I believe, 2006. So I hopefully can bring some institutional memory to this group, and I look forward to the issues that we're discussing this year.
Liz Bacon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Bacon. I've served on a couple of committees on the RTM since I've been a member, I think 14 years now. I started off on the Education Committee. I was on PZNH for a good long time. I decided to mix it up and spent 2 years on Public Works, but I missed the content of PZNH, so I requested to move back this year. And I'm just delighted.
Liz and I were traded.
I'm delighted to be back and working with all of you. So looking forward to it. And the Rules Committee, but that was a while ago. Anyway.
Michael?
I'm sorry, Mike, is that me?
Yep.
I couldn't tell, sorry. Michael Castello. I have been on PZNH. This will be my second year. I have been on the RTM this time around, just my second year. I've been on the RTM twice in the past, once on Parks and Rec and once on Education. I've been on the Board of Education for 3 years. I've been on the School Building Committee once. And I am, by training, although I don't practice it, I'm an architect, and I have run corporate real estate portfolios, and currently I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for a global design build company.
Marcy.
Hey, how are you? I'm Marcy Minnick. I'm District 3. I have been on the RTM for, this is my 3rd year, and I've been on planning and zoning the whole time. In my personal life, I am a defense and aerospace manufacturer. We have a small business in Milford. We do, like I said, aerospace and defense, medical equipment. We're a job shop. We've been in business for 60 years. It's a family business. 3 children in town. And my husband owns a moving company, so we're pretty engaged in the community.
Bring Scott Zimmerman.
Hi, everyone. I've been on the TGS&A the last year, and it was pretty inactive. But before that, I've done a stint on Public Works and Health and Safety. I'm looking forward to working with everybody. I'm an attorney. I'm a litigator. That's about it.
Linda.
I think she's not here.
Linda's not here. Linda Turner's not here.
That makes that easy. Ken.
Sure. Ken Fiveson. I've been on the RTM for about 8 years. This is my 2nd year PZNH. I was on Parks and Rec for 3 years before that. I'm looking forward to the year to dealing with some of these issues in town. I live on Edgerton Street and kind of in the heart of Norotan Heights. So I've always kind of interested and active in what's going on down here. And, I'm looking forward to hearing the other issues in town and working with all you guys.
Jennifer.
Hi guys, so I'm new to this committee, but not to RTM. I moved over from Parks and Rec. This is my 4th year serving on RTM. I had 3 years on Parks and Rec. So I'm excited to kind of get some new information about the town. I'm essentially following Ken's footsteps. He was on Parks and Rec, and now I'm on planning and zoning, same as him. I live around the corner from him. So similar concerns about what's going on in our neighborhood and just the town in general. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thanks.
Amy?
Which Amy?
Chickles.
Hi, I'm Amy Chickles. I've been on the RTM and PZNH since 2017. I am technically District 6, although I currently now live in District 2. I have 2 kids, one at the middle school, one at the high school, and I work for a small nonprofit in Bridgeport.
Susan.
Hi. I've lived in Darien about 20 years now. I've been on the RTM 6 years, and this is my 2nd year on PZNH. And before that, I was on Parks and Rec for about 4 years. And my background in finance, and I'm glad to be on PZNH again this year. Thanks.
Carolyn Lutz.
Hi, I've been on this committee. I think this is my 3rd year, and before that, I was on TGS&A. I was a commissioner on the Park and Rec Commission for 7 years. I was on the RTM for 7 years before that. So lots of mix up, and so I've been involved in town government for many, many years, and I'm enjoying PZNH and looking forward to working with all of you.
And Amy, the guest that you said was going to come is not here yet.
He's not here. Okay. All right. We, for the next on the agenda would be for us to take nominations for a vice chair. Do I have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Carolyn Bain.
I second that. Any other nominations? Okay, Carolyn, would you be honor us in providing your services and institutional knowledge again?
I would be happy to. Thank you.
Good, good. Okay, seeing no other names coming forward, all those in favor of having Carolyn as our vice chair for the committee?
Aye.
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 Unanimous, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So there's no no's, any no's, and no abstentions. Okay. All righty. Thank you, Carolyn. All right. Now the yeoman's work of the next role that we need to provide and fill is the role of the clerk. Any nominations for the committee's clerk? I nominate Amy Chickles.
I second.
Do it again.
Sure, I'll do it again.
Anybody else want to put their name forward?
Reason I was all set to do polling.
Okay, all right. Okay, all those in favor of having Amy Chickles keep us organized and on top of things. Okay, terrific.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Amy.
All
Thank
right,
you,
thank
Amy.
you, Amy, for doing that. Okay, so that is, that's our organizational duties for today. Next up is going to be setting the calendar for the remainder of the year. And the calendar is for our committee meetings. What we need to do is sandwich them in between rules meets once a month. Generally, they set the agenda for the RTM meeting that follows 2 weeks later. Anything that gets assigned to our committee, we need that time period to investigate, do our due diligence, come together as a body, vote on any issues that are facing us, create our report that we then report out to the full RTM for the full RTM to come to a vote. So in that organizational timeline, it's important for us to kind of sandwich our meetings between the rules and the RTM meeting, keeping in mind a couple of things. Planning and Zoning Commission meets on Tuesday evenings. The second and fourth Tuesday of every month generally is they're going to be their calendar. I verified that with Steve Albani. That's, I think, their intention going forward for the remainder of the session. They're going to be meeting at 7:30. So in general, I'd like to stay away from Tuesday meetings because when there's issues, I'd like, Steve to be able to come in and report out to the group and be a sounding board and answer questions for us, as well as Jeremy. And Jeremy's always attending those meetings as well. So I'd like to stay away from Tuesdays. Selfishly, I'd love to have the expertise that Mike Wheeler provides from a technical standpoint. In the online environment, it's much easier to run the meeting when somebody else is doing the technical side. So Mike, you still teaching on Wednesdays?
Yeah, I teach on Wednesdays.
Okay, if we can, I'd like to stay away from Wednesday evenings as well. Is Monday evenings okay for everybody in general?
Yes.
No.
It's
Who's
not
the
great
no?
for me, but I'll do my best. I have just everything that I'm involved in seems to meet on Monday nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are Thursday evenings okay for the group?
Yes.
With knowledge, Thursdays are okay with me, that I can schedule things around. I do something on Thursday, but I can schedule them around with enough knowledge of when we'll be meeting.
Okay. A couple of things. All right, if we're going to be meeting, Mike, you tell me, generally when rules meets on a Monday, the agenda doesn't always get out on a Tuesday.
He does,
Sometimes,
he does, yeah, but it gets done by Tuesday. Mark's got it. I'll know on the night of rules if we're assigned anything, and can send you a note before I leave town hall, or before as soon as the meeting's over.
okay, if the group wants to do Thursdays, I would prefer to do Thursdays of the same week that rules is meeting. This way, because if we wait till the following Thursday, it might not give us enough time to do any secondary meetings or research that we might need to do before that Monday coming RTM report out. Did everybody follow?
Yep.
So if we can, I'd like then the dates to be, all right, let me pull up. December's meeting for RTM is just going to be the state of the town. And that's going to be December 7th at 8 o'clock. That's the full RTM state of the town, where Jamie and the departments give their state of Darien. Into January, then the January 11th is rules. So that would put our meeting on the 14th, January 14th. February rules is a meeting on the February 8th. So that would put our meeting for planning, zoning, and housing on the 11th. March, they meet March 1st. That would put our meeting on the 4th. Okay. April is our budget season. So they are meeting on the 5th. That would put our meeting on the 8th, PZ&H. And then again, they meet on the 26th. So let's schedule a tentative meeting on the 29th, PZ&H.
Are you still in April?
April, yes. So April, we will have two meetings. And the reason we need to set all these calendars now is, in the past, it's for room space at town hall. We have to kind of we have to log our organizational meetings for them to be posted, and we have to get meeting space, quote unquote, and that might be physical, or that might for now be online. We don't know how long, but I'd like to get this into the town clerk ASAP tonight. So April would be the 8th and the 29th. May rules does not meet, okay, because they're meeting the last weekend, okay? And then June, they're meeting the 7th, and then we would be meeting the 10th. And then July, no meetings.
Yeah, they're done. Yeah,
In
we're into
August,
September.
meetings.
We're into September.
Yep, so then September comes to their rules is meeting the 13th, so we would be meeting the 16th. October, they're meeting the 4th, so we would meet on the 7th. And then into November, you're back to after elections, and then we would be forming a new committee. So it's meeting start times. Is it okay with everybody to aim for 7:30, or is 8 o'clock better for the transition of a work day into, after family commitments and time to dedicate to a meeting?
I'd vote for 7:30.
7:30.
7:30 is good.
7:30, okay. I like that as well. Okay, and the agenda, we'll get this out to everybody as far as the minutes, we'll get this out to everybody with a summary of the meeting times. Okay, all right, so that's the work that we needed to accomplish today. The next agenda item for us to take a sense of is the 7-Eleven application that is coming in front, and that is in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mike, do we have our visitor who's logged in?
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. What I will summarize for anybody who might not know before we get there, generally speaking for meetings, the way I like to organize things last year is if we don't have any resolutions facing the group, or there's no real topics facing the group, I don't generally see the point of holding meetings just to hold meetings. Unless anybody has a strong opinion, please let me know. Does any, do people want to get together even if we don't have resolutions or there's no major topics to discuss? Or is everybody good with a cancellation on a meeting that we don't need to have?
Just the regular updates on the projects in town.
Yeah.
But you worked that into, Steve, you worked them into the schedule well last year.
Mm-hmm. Any other issues that people would like to see or not like to see be incorporated into the meetings?
I'd like to maybe all the committees have I noticed assigned, not the Board of Finance and now the Board of Selectmen, but maybe in the 2 years, I don't think we've ever had a report from the Blight Committee.
From the Blight Committee, okay.
And I see that both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance have assigned someone to cover the Blight Committee.
Okay. So do you think it's best if you have?
I'm the RTM, this is Michael. I'm the RTM.
Michael's on it.
I'm the RTM representative to the Blight Committee.
So what a coincidence.
Imagine that. So we can talk about how you want to do that. If you want to have the chairman come into one of our meetings, or
you'd be perfect.
Or
I think you'd be perfect to cover it. But we've never really covered it in a meeting.
Okay. Okay. Anything else that people want to? And again, it's not like today's the only time you can make a recommendation. Obviously, that can go on with every meeting. Okay. Okay. So where the location, let's move on to the 7-Eleven application. There is is everybody familiar? Is anybody not familiar with the pending application at Planning and Zoning for 7-Eleven organization to tear down the Duchess restaurant and install a 4,000 square foot 7-Eleven convenience store and 12 gas station pumps? Hi, buddy.
Sorry.
No worries. So there's been an application that's been submitted. The Planning and Zoning Commission has heard a couple of things. They've asked for traffic reports. There was no traffic study. They've asked for traffic studies to be done. The Planning and Zoning Commission has asked for our traffic expert to weigh in. They are now creating their study, and
I think he's joining now.
Okay. Okay.
Let me, Terry Bach, could you identify yourself?
Yes. Hi there.
Hi, Terry.
How are you?
How are you?
Not bad.
Terry, we were just starting to discuss the 7-Eleven application that's in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I was just updating the group. The commission is meeting tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And they have asked for any comments, letters, questions to ideally be submitted beforehand by tomorrow at 3 o'clock. There's an ability to connect with the Zoom, with their GoToMeeting online, but the meeting will also be live streamed on TV 79. So if you want to just view it live, you can do it that way. If you want an opportunity to interact, you can go online through the link and submit any questions or statements prior. But while we have Terry, did we lose Terry?
No, he's there.
Okay.
What I realized I did though, Amy, is I've logged into the wrong meeting because my friend Michael Cipoletti is coming to this and he's just not here yet.
He's not here.
Yeah, he's not.
I clicked on the wrong link and I'm at the wrong meeting, but I'm happy to spend 2 minutes. I mean, if there's anything you wanted to hear from me now, I gotta
Why
go.
don't you, Terry is the lead voice from the Birch Road neighborhood.
Here's Michael coming. Hi. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. So Terry got here and went to the wrong meeting.
I
So
clicked on the wrong link, Mike, and I'm here, but I'm
he's
I'm gonna stick
delighted
around
you're
for
here,
5
so
minutes.
he can leave now.
Okay, so Terry or Mike, you want to give an overview from the neighbors and what your concerns and what you'd like to highlight to the committee?
You know, I'm happy to kick off, and I'm going to go. Michael and I are among a group of 40-ish neighbors here in our neighborhood up here in Birch Road, and really what led to this. I mean, if you haven't heard, there's a proposal for a very, very large 24-hour 7-Eleven going in at the current Duchess site, and there's a lot that's remarkable about it. But I think what one of the things that caught Mike and I and a bunch of the neighbors by surprise was kind of how quietly this seemed to be happening. You know, the application process for this started in August, evidently. And as much as the neighbors, you know, well, we know why. The answer is it's outside of 100 feet. So none of the residences, although we're quite close, were noticed. You know, frankly, because it's on the other side of Route 1. This kind of hit our radar about a week and a half ago, and amongst the couple of calls that we had made, one of the long list of things we had learned is that this committee, the P&Z committee of the RTM, at least the members that we came in contact with, were totally unaware of it as well. So perhaps some of you are and some of you aren't, but at least a few that we have had we've had the opportunity to speak to weren't aware of it either. But you know, I think probably our concern there's a long list of things, and we certainly don't want to take over your meeting, but you know, namely, you know, I would say the primary concern is just a very, very large, high volume, 24-hour store that, in order to hit its volume targets, means that most of that goal is going to be dragging traffic off of I-95, off of exit 13, and frankly doesn't serve the town very well. I mean, there's a long list of sub-arguments to that of what we're concerned about as neighbors, and frankly a long history of planning and zoning really looking after what we think is a unique zone of commercial, very, very close to if you've been in the Birch Road, Point of Woods South neighborhood, it's close by, it's a ton of families. And frankly, you know, as somebody who's been here 14 years, planning and zoning's really looked out for us for both the length of time that I've been here and, you know, as I understand it, for decades going back prior to that. So that's really it. We're happy to share with you what we've learned thus so far, and, you know, what we, the next step of this is a planning and zoning meeting tomorrow, and, you know, we'll see where we go. Michael, I don't know if you want to add anything into that, and I'm probably going to have to drop to go to the other to go to the meeting I was supposed to attend.
So Terry, maybe for those folks that haven't read about it in the paper, just to underscore what the project is. So we're talking about, as Terry said, 24 hours convenience store, 12 gas pumps, which is pretty large, as well as a very significant retail space in the thousands of square feet range, and also a quick serve restaurant. So in addition to everything that Terry talked about, if you're used to walking into a small convenience store, this is actually a mega convenience store, at least in this current proposal. So as Terry said, they're going to need zoning variances. The project in many respects also, we think, goes against the POCD, Plan of Conservation and Development, but really, as someone with a family who lives on Point of Woods, what I'm real focused on is both the traffic implications and also the fact that We have heard from the police department, and they hosted an open meeting last week where they raised the fact that they have concerns about crime, especially if you do research around 7-Eleven and certainly anything open for 24 hours. That's why, the town has been loath to make those allowances. So those are just a few more facts that maybe all of those were not in the newspaper article, if that's been your primary source of information on this to date.
As an aside, if anybody wants to view the entire application, you can go through on the public website on the darien.ct.gov. There's the full application there under planning and zoning. You can
With
look
frequent
that up.
updates. Yeah, it's a repository for every document related to the project.
Yeah. And then you can also, if you're interested in catching up on what the commission has heard and deliberated on to date, you can go to the Darien town website again, TV 79, and you can go back through and look at the agenda and the times that it was heard. But I can give you those dates. When I summarize an email, I'll summarize an email to everybody and I'll let you know the dates that you can just zoom in on and look at. I think it was the 22nd of September, the 27th of October, and the 10th of November.
And the good news about planning and zoning is they give us their timestamps, so you can see exactly when the item is. Click on the timestamp and it'll take you right to that portion of the meeting. So you don't have to go hunting and fishing through the agenda.
Okay. So what, Michael, what would you ask, what would you like for us to do in assistance for you?
Well, I was told expressly this was not an opportunity for our citizens group to lobby for help. So my primary goal tonight was to inform. I think getting educated for sure is the first step. We have retained counsel. Counsel has advised us that although tomorrow is an important date with respect to the approval process through P&Z, if there is not a final decision made tomorrow, there will be another opportunity for people who are so inclined to write letters directly to PNC and some other bodies. So, maybe if you're interested, I could send you a few follow-up items, but certainly the deadline for writing letters was kind of like 5 p.m. today. We have heard that there have already been a lot of letters written, but I think that's one thing that if the deadline goes beyond tomorrow, and there is definitely a not 0% chance that the project is fully approved tomorrow, which is why we've been really focused on this in the week or so that we've known about it. But we're likely
the police commission said at their meeting, they've just ordered their independent traffic survey, and it would be at least 3 weeks before they get the initial response back. And then there's a give and take, and then 7-Eleven has to present their traffic study. So in the police commission, it seemed like, at least from their standpoint, one, they don't get a vote on it, but the RTM doesn't vote on this, do we?
There's no resolution in front of the RTM involving this. We're not being asked to appropriate any money. This is a planning and zoning commission agenda item. So
we heard from the PD when we were there that they do give advice and recommendations, which are usually taken by P&Z, but not always. Another thing to know is 7-Eleven has already done and presented a traffic study. So correct. By their own admission, there are going to be hundreds of cars a day on, if you know that area in front of Duchess, it's just one lane in either direction. So their goal is to pull at least 50 cars off of I-95 every hour with their mobile app and, you know, a sign they need a variance for. And for those of us who drive and we have kids who walk and ride bikes, that's a real big concern. So for those of you that have a high tolerance for billions of pieces of data, the traffic report is actually up there. I've been through it. And you can do your perusal. So the traffic commission that we would do would actually be our view on whether or not the 7-Eleven numbers, which are going to more than double traffic, is that even too low? So that's why I think we're doing ours. They've already done theirs.
And are you guys doing a separate one from the one that the town has authorized through the police?
There are two different studies, as I understand it. Again, a layperson. Number one is a consultant's review of the petitioner's full-fledged study. I am under the impression that the department within the police, I forget, it's got 3 letters. What they are going to do is commission a peer review. What we are, though, doing as our citizens group is a few of us are trying to find someone who would be able to do a full-fledged study for us. And I'm under the impression that that might take longer than a few weeks. I could be wrong, but I think what the police are doing is a peer review. But I think as concerned citizens, we actually want our own study. So we're working on that right now.
Any other questions for Mike while we have him? Any other questions or comments and general observations?
I have a question. I don't know if it's for Mike, but is the Dunkin' Donuts 24 hours? Do we have any other 24?
No. So what I have been told by our attorney is that there's one other place of business in town that got a variance to be able to operate 24 hours. They got the variance with the provision that if the neighbors complained, they could lose the ability to operate for 24 hours. And furthermore, at least to my knowledge, maybe our group's knowledge, they have never utilized the right to operate 24 hours. So while one business may be able to do it, it's conditional upon neighbors not complaining. Oh, and by the way, they've never used it.
I think it is a Dunkin' Donuts.
That Dunkin' Donut? Okay.
I think it is a Dunkin' Donuts that has the ability, but they've not done it yet.
Not done it. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, our POCD, the Plan of Conservation and Development, has a few core edicts, which include keeping future development with the existing small town New England character of Darien, seek to limit business impacts and intrusions on adjacent residential and properties and streets. So there are a lot of variances that they're going to need for the project as contemplated. Not just the 24 hours, but that's certainly a big one.
Who owns the property?
That is, so Duchess, we are under the impression that Duchess has a long-term lease from the owner that is expiring soon. And the new rate that the owner wants to charge has made it not interesting for Duchess to renew. And the owner will maintain their ownership and just lease to a different entity, 7-Eleven. So we think they're leasing it, but it's not been made clear to us who the owner or what is the owning organization. That's the impression we're under.
What can we foresee as any major benefit of this coming to our town? Like, what would be the opposition of people saying that they would want it here, other than Slurpees, I guess? I mean, I'm not really sure.
Well, so that's a big one. That's a big one. Slurpees is a big one.
Time out. before anybody says anything further, I just want to just remind everybody that we are being recorded and that we are in a public forum and all of our comments are view for the larger public. So I just want to remind everybody of that.
I don't see any. We could have a conversation offline if you'd like. That's a crux issue. There are roughly a half a dozen gas stations on either side of the exit 13 interchange on the Post Road. There are also tons of gas stations in town that have served town for a very long time. Part of our town rules stipulate that these gas stations also have repair shops, so they become integrated with the community. Part of the answer to your question is there are no discernible benefits. In fact, it very well could be the case that gas stations that exist right now and operate could go out of business. And then what do we do with an abandoned gas station that's 300 feet away from a 7-Eleven?
There are a couple of other concerns if you look at the site plan. One is that the building is proposed to be much closer to the Post Road than the current building. And it's much closer to the westernmost property line, the property line closest to Fletcher's development. It's almost abutting the property line at one point. And the building is many feet closer to the Post Road than the Duchess structure.
What time does that mobile station close? 11 o'clock? Not a mobile station across the street?
6 a.m.
It's like
6
to 11?
Yes.
But obviously on 95 on both sides, those gas stations are open 24 hours. Or
There's already a mega convenience store, correct?
And there's 2 of them.
Right, and I think that again, maybe this is interpretation or maybe it's in the exact report. Crux to the 7-Eleven plan for the commercial enterprise they want is literally to funnel cars off of I-95 into our town.
Yeah, there's no question.
What is the next step in this process?
I'm sorry, say that again, Susan?
What's the next step?
The next step in the process is I would encourage everybody to be involved tomorrow, whether you plan to go online and be an active participant in the Planning and Zoning Commission, or you plan to just follow it via TV 79. It will be live streamed. And stay on top of the issues. If there's a matter of questions or concerns or a statement that you'd like to make, they're asking for those before 3 o'clock tomorrow to be submitted to Fred down at the Planning and Zoning office at town.
Amy, just a logistical point, is there a limit to how many people can be on that go to meeting? So if you don't have a prepared statement, should you leave that to people who do and just watch it on TV, or how does that work?
Mike,
the town does have a 200, I believe on GoToMeeting, they have a 250 person limit. And it's also going to be if you happen to cut the cord and don't have TV 79 through Altice, there's also a live feed on YouTube.
So we do want to load up. We do want to load up the 250 slots for sure.
Okay.
For those of you who, before you log off to go to chat, there have been 3 messages loaded. One from Michael, the Dunkin' Donuts hours are 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. The address is 306 Post Road. And from Reed, there's a link to Reed. What's the link to that you sent?
Specifically to the Planning and Zoning application page that has all the subsequent documents, the traffic study, the letters to the commission. There's 3 sets of those with each meeting that Amy mentioned. There are recordings to those meetings. It's got everything you need that is constantly updated.
So for those of you who haven't used Zoom, because the town uses GoToMeeting most of the time, on the chat function, you could go and click on that link before we log off.
And I will send out to the group the instructions for tomorrow's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. So everyone will have it in their inbox and with the instructions on how to log in if you want to do it live, if you want to attend live.
What happens, what needs to occur in the commission meeting tomorrow for this to go to final vote? So it was mentioned that there's the possibility that this rolls over, should tomorrow be the last. Like, what is the deciding factor that sends this to final vote?
My general sense is that it won't be to a final vote because there are the town's ordered commission, the commission that, and the Planning and Zoning Commission's traffic experts study or peer review is not completed yet. So I don't believe that they're going to make a decision until that is completed. I don't know if he's going to be presenting a preliminary findings tomorrow or not. I don't know.
The one on the Planning and Zoning website is the property owner / proposed businesses traffic study. The town of Darien has yet to be published, and neither has the communities. Is that correct?
I believe
Correct.
so. Correct. Yeah.
7-Eleven falls within District 1 of Darien?
Yes. District 1. Though you don't have to just be a District 1 member to voice concerns. It's, you know, you could certainly just be, you're just a member of the town.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Since this is a special meeting, technically we're not really allowed to add any additional agenda items to a special meeting unless there was I believe a 2/3 vote to add an additional agenda item. So I think that's all we have for today. Mike, we certainly appreciate you taking the time. Did he sign off? I don't see him anymore.
No, he's here. He's still there. He's still here.
I don't. Okay. We certainly appreciate you coming and voicing your organization's, your citizens group's perspective, and we're going to stay involved and on top of it. And if there's anything further that we can do in the future, please reach out and let us know.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And I've also sent Terry our committee's membership and all of our emails. So he has our group's distribution. If there's anything in particular that you want to, and as an aside, if there's anything that you want to get to the RTM as a full body that you want to communicate to the full body, send that to Lisa Buxton at L Buxton at Darien CT. And then she would distribute any communication that you want to the full RTM. That would probably be the best way to get it. Any statements out from your group to the whole body.
Great.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Unless there's anything further, is there anybody have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Seconded?
Second.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Amy.
Good night, everyone.